episode of Post-Fades Cheesesteaks. You got myself, Dakota, and we're joined by Mr. Michael Rodriguez. How are we today, Mike?
How's it going, man? I'm glad to be back on the podcast. Thanks for
Yeah,
having me.
we got draft week, and you got like little Eagles banner going on in the background there. I love it. I
Of
love it.
course, fly Eagles fly, baby.
Absolutely.
This is
It's a
Jalen Hurts' team for the
oh
next
yeah.
6 years.
Ooh, my
6 years, right?
man's.
Including the rookie year that he has left.
I think so. Yeah, my man's got paid. Man's got
Paid
paid.
that bag.
Now you're
The
seeing
bag
that.
man.
Now you're seeing that he he just comes out with quotes all the time. But now his quote is money. What is it? Money's nice, but championships are better. Now everyone's sharing
Yeah,
that quote around. So
yeah. And I just, I listened to this podcast the other day. And I heard this guy, he was talking about how much he hated the quote. I mean, he loved the quote, but he hated it because he knew that Philly fans are gonna put it on shirts.
oh yeah.
And if we end up, losing in the playoffs, like in the first round next year, the trolls are going to be insane. And so
Yep.
please, Philly fans, don't put it on a shirt yet. Put it on a shirt once we win a championship, but do not put it on beforehand, please.
All right, so I'm gonna eliminate that off the post-phase and cheesesteaks t-shirt ideas.
Yes, please run that past Tim. So, and I hope that he shares my thoughts on it because
Yeah. Speaking
I
of
don't,
good
I
old
don't want to get trolled.
speaking of good old Tim, he is out on his honeymoon. So Tim, obviously enjoying the little vacation. So I'm taking over
Congrats,
for
Tim.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, got married back in August, so he's a little behind the ball,
Yeah.
but I guess that's what happens
Listen,
when you take
man,
a destination wedding. So
that's what happens with some people. I'm getting married in July, and we're not taking our honeymoon until January next year.
oh damn,
So,
okay. Okay.
yeah,
Well, yeah.
funny, man.
Pre congrats for yeah. I mean, I'll be there, but
Thank you. Yeah, you
yeah,
will.
it'll be a great time.
Thanks, man.
Anyways, so we got the draft, obviously. So let's talk our birds before we get into our final individual mock drafts. But how are we feeling about Philly? Do we actually think B John's gonna drop to them? Do we think they're gonna take an edge? Is Jalen Carter gonna make it to the Eagles? What are we thinking?
I don't know, man. I mean, I have so many thoughts. I've done so many mock drafts, trying to make it the ideal situation where we get them both, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah,
You know,
I was telling Mike before we started hopping on that I was like went through my mock and I was like, damn, I mean, maybe I should let B John slide to 30. I was like, he's
there's
not gonna last.
no way
Yeah,
Bijan slides to 30.
his sweet spot I think is like 8 to like 22, 23 maybe. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
he's going
honestly,
somewhere.
if he's there when the Giants pick, you know, I'm sure that if they don't take him, somebody would trade up, like the Bengals might trade up to get him.
Yeah,
I just hope he doesn't fall to Dallas because it would suck because, I feel like he'd be so good in Dallas and we'd have to play him twice a year. So anywhere that he goes that isn't the Eagles, as long as it's not the NFC East, I'm
bro.
perfectly fine with that if we can't get him. Preferably the AFC. So if anybody else, should get him, it's either the Bengals or the Chargers. With the whole Austin Eckler requesting a trade
Yeah,
thing, I think it makes sense.
I was gonna say I can kind of see a couple of teams that already have like top 10 running backs already taking Bijan just because there's uncertainty with contracts and age and whether they get traded. Like
Exactly.
the Vikings could take him, the Titans could take Bijan,
Yeah.
Chargers, like you said. So there's any team, and I mean, when we get to my mock, you'll see how my he went to an interesting place on my mock, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think that
you
back
can't go
to the
wrong.
Eagles. Yeah, for sure. I think when it comes to the Eagles, you think about Jalen Carter, everything going on with him off field,
Yeah,
the rumors about him falling all the way, up to 10. I don't think that he's going to make it to 10. I think that the Eagles have an opportunity to trade up, to 7. If he makes it to 7, if he makes it past the Seattle, if he makes it past Seattle, I expect Howie to be aggressive about trading up to get him because the expectation is that he goes to Seattle, but I've seen reports and I've read plenty of articles that say that because of the off-field stuff, rumors are circulating that Seahawks won't take him even if he's there.
okay,
And I think that it's all going to depend on pick number 2.
yeah.
What is Houston doing? Are they taking a QB? Are they going to go with Will Anderson? I feel like if they grab Will Anderson and not a QB, then that increases the chances of Jalen Carter falling even more because then that opens up the door for Seattle to grab a QB as well, which I
Yeah.
honestly didn't think was going to be like a huge possibility. But thinking through it, Gino is really just on technically a 1 year contract. So
Mm,
bringing in a QB with a similar play style like Anthony Richardson,
yeah.
shout out to Andy. I was talking to him about this, and he made that great point. It's like Richardson under Gino, developing the Seahawks, they've shown that they're really good at developing quarterbacks.
Mm,
So I think that if you give him a year under Gino to develop, once Gino's contract is up, see where you stand with Richardson. And I think that the ceiling with Richardson is one of the highest of the QBs in the draft. But the
yeah.
but the floor is definitely one of the lowest. The risk is he's a gamble,
He
so he
is.
has
He
to go to the
is.
right situation. Otherwise, he's just not going to be what people think he is, in my opinion. But
Yeah, but that's a
you
good
know,
point because I mean, especially Seattle's a run heavy team. And they do have Seattle's offense kind of reminds me of Philly a little bit. Got some really studs out at wide receiver. Uh, our line, Eagles line is far superior than Seattle's line. That's always been Seattle's
by
problem.
far, yeah,
They haven't had a good line in a long time, but
yeah.
yeah, I mean, they are a running back by committee team. And they drafted that guy last year. I forget his name off the top of my head, but he was a really good rookie running back for them.
Yeah, it's what's his name?
Where's number
How did I
9? I
forget his
can't remember
name?
his name though.
Yeah, Kenny Gainwell. No, not Kenny
Not
Gainwell. Kenny
Gainwell.
Walker. Kenneth
Walker,
Walker.
Walker.
Kenneth
Yeah, yeah,
Walker.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
nah,
a
Kenneth
beast.
Walker. Yeah, Kenneth Walker's a stud. He's definitely a beast. I think that yeah, it's just like you said, they're just missing that offensive line to protect Gino a little bit. Give him
Yeah.
a little more time behind the line of scrimmage in the pocket to make those throws. But I don't see them drafting anybody offensive. If it's not a quarterback, then they're definitely going with an edge or a
Yeah,
defensive guy.
I think if like you said, if Houston takes like a Will Anderson or, maybe a Jalen Carter or Tyree Wilson even. I've heard his name at number 2. Like
Tyree Wilson, yeah,
all hell will break loose. Like
it's gonna be
quarter
fun.
teams are gonna start trading up to like, oh, we can get CJ Stroud here or maybe Bryce Young
Yeah,
here. Like it's gonna be pretty wild.
yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's gonna be fun. I haven't been this excited for the draft in a while, and I think it's gonna be a fun night. Like after the pick two is in, man, we're in for a ride for sure. Looking
Yeah.
forward to it.
So so in my opinion, back to the Eagles, biggest
Yeah.
needs in this just the draft in general, like through all 7 rounds. I
Hmm.
would say they need another D tackle. They need some edge. Um, some young secondary pieces, preferably a cornerback.
Hmm.
But definitely a cornerback. I say that because safety you can plug and play. We need a
Yeah.
young, talented cornerback to come in and sit behind Slay and Bradbury and kind of learn the ropes of the NFL, and then they can play in a year or two when one of them
Yeah.
retires or is cut or trade or whatever. And then
Yeah.
beyond that, you could always use depth at offensive line, but I don't I don't anticipate a wide receiver in the first like 2 or 3 rounds.
No way.
I could
That's
see a
gonna be a
fourth or fifth
trench
round.
position.
Yeah, they'll always every team takes a wide receiver late in the draft just as a flyer. But
Yeah. Other than Jigba, I mean, there's really no other wide receiver that really pops out to me like that would go in the first round.
yeah,
Although I do anticipate maybe one more going, specifically maybe to New England. I think that they could draft. I don't discount the idea of them potentially drafting in the first round a wide receiver, or maybe bringing the other team that's drafting in the 20s. I'm not sure. I'll look at it when we get to the mock drafts. But I
mm,
totally agree with you. I think that we definitely need in the first round. You got to go for edge. You got to go for defensive line.
yeah,
If you can't get Jalen Carter, I'm not totally sold on drafting an offensive tackle like Peter
hmm
Skoronski at 10. I think that we don't have as much depth as we did, previously, but I think that we have enough depth where you can get away with drafting an offensive tackle later in the draft, and not going offensive line first round, first pick. I think we got to prioritize, defense. Like we said, we need somebody behind Bradbury and Slay in case one of those guys go down.
hmm
Slay, I love Slay, but Slay's getting up there. He's getting up there in age, man, and
a little bit.
you know, you get up there in age, you get more injury prone. Same with Bradbury. I love those guys, but I think we need a little more depth in the DB position. And later drafts. draft a running back because I am not sold on what's his name? Rashad Penny.
Mhm.
Not sold on Rashad. I'm not sold on our running back room right now. I think we need some more depth. I like Gainwell. I like Boston Scott, but you know, I'm not sure that I would completely trust putting either three of those guys as RB1, for the entire season.
Yeah.
Just with Rashad Penny's injury proneness, his injury history. As I was going through that, it's concerning. That's why I'm so for drafting Bijan Robinson, but I just look at other positions that we need and some of these players, the blue chip players that would be available. It's like
Mhm.
if Jalen Carter and Bijan are available, wherever we're drafting, I'm taking Jalen, all day. But
Yeah.
in my fantasy, we get them both. Not happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that I trust Howie. That's something that I didn't think I would ever say again after seeing how he's drafted in the past, botching both DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson,
Yeah.
drafting Jalen Rager in the first round. I'll never forget that. But man, he's definitely improved and has been doing a great job. And I totally trust him to make some great moves. I'm also for trading some of these picks that we have next year. You got what is it, 12 or 14? Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
I think 2024 they have a shit ton. Let me double check.
yeah, 2024 is what I'm saying.
Yeah, they could
Like
use some
next
of
year's
those to move
picks.
up.
Yeah, I would use those. Like I said, if those guys that you really want, Jalen Carter's there, and you can move up, I'd use some of those picks to move up for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna
I
be.
just really,
I was gonna
I
say it's
just
gonna.
really,
Go
I think
ahead.
him, nah, it's all good. I think him, Jordan, reuniting him with Jordan Davis and Kobe, man. Like, I'm sure that that's where he wants to be. The situation would be too perfect.
Yeah,
I'm not too worried about his off the field stuff, the whole legal situation. I'm sure that that won't be an issue long term for him.
yeah. I was gonna say the it's a pretty weird draft for the Eagles. So they have two first round picks, a second and a third, and then don't pick again until the seventh. So they're obviously
Hmm.
gonna wheel and deal a little bit there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I
Yeah, not picking, not having a fifth or a sixth rounder, you said, right?
yeah. Then well, fourth,
Yeah,
fifth, or sixth.
fourth, fifth, or sixth. Yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah.
a long time. I think that they should probably it all depends how rounds 1 through 3 go. I mean, but still I think that they should make some moves in those rounds, so fourth, fifth, and sixth to try to, draft someone in the trenches like a wide
Hmm.
receiver or a running back for sure.
All right. Cool. So without further ado, I think we should get rolling into this mock draft.
Yeah, man. You want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
So yeah,
Because I
I
got two.
say so we'll go pick well let's pick the one you think's more like legit, like more realistic.
More
Um
legit. Okay.
and then like you can do the one you did like if it's a little more like for fun or whatever.
Okay.
We'll just go like back and forth and then see how that goes and then but yeah, I think the top 10 is super interesting and then it's curious what you have the Eagles doing as well. So because I have them doing a
Yeah,
little something spicy in the first round, but
something spicy
something
in the first
spicy.
round. Yeah. How about you go first? Because I completed my I'm on pick like 22 of my realistic one.
Okay.
So the only one that I have completed is my dream draft for the
Well, we can do
Eagles.
that. We can do that.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean, we'll start off with pick number one. I think this is pretty clear cut. Bryce Young, quarterback from Alabama, going to Carolina at number one. I
Yeah.
would be. I mean, there's times when like like number one pick has been like questionable. Like I remember when like it was like, is it gonna be Jalen Hurt or not Jalen Hurt? Is it gonna be Carson Wentz, Jared Goff? Like who's going one? And then like as you get closer to the draft, it kind of like evens out, and then you could still be surprised. But I think 90% Bryce Young's going number one to Carolina. But what do you think?
Okay. Bryce Young. Yeah. I mean, he's a Panther. Like I told you yesterday, he's already looking at real estate in Carolina. He is a Panther. It's like
Okay.
85, 90%. If they go with anybody else at this point, I will be shocked. But then again, we year after year, we're proven wrong with drafts because we think that we know what these teams are doing, but they end up doing something completely different. maybe a switch goes off the night before, and then they change their mind. But right now, I totally agree with you on Bryce Young going to Carolina.
Okay. Number two, who you got going at two?
Who do you have going into?
Oh, you want me to lead off every time? Okay.
Oh, are we doing
I
back and forth?
I was
Okay.
gonna say we do back and forth,
Okay, yeah, we could do back and forth.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, yeah, back and forth. Let's do that.
Okay.
All right. So number two, I was teetering between, which one I really believe is going number two because there's so much speculation around, Houston, are they going to take a QB? Are they going to take a defensive player and then try to trade for a QB like Trey Lance if they're able to? But realistically, if I had to go with my gut, then I'd say that they'd go with Anthony Richardson at QB.
Okay. Um. Oh, at number two over CJ
At number
Stroud.
two.
Oh.
At number two. Yeah, number
Okay.
two. Let's say
Okay.
let's say Anthony Richardson. I'm just gonna go with what I feel right now.
All right. So my thought process here is that yes, they could go quarterback. But that's the thing. When a new coach enters the fray, it's like, do you work with what you got for like a year and then see if you have to revisit the quarterback position in the draft the next year, or do you try to take best available? And I think as D'Amico Ryan's a defensive minded guy,
Hmm.
they don't have a terrible like Mills is not a bad quarterback. He's serviceable. I think
Yeah, he's
he's
just
fine.
not a long-term guy.
No, he's not a long-term guy, but I think there's one player that's better than any of the quarterbacks in this draft, besides maybe Bryce Young, and that's Will Anderson from Alabama, the edge
Okay.
rusher. So I'm gonna be I don't know I don't think it's ballsy, but I'm gonna take him for Houston here at number two, and
Yeah.
that really shakes up my top 10 because then I have a couple teams moving around here. But
Yeah. That's who I have them choosing in my other mock draft. The
okay,
one that's unrealistic because of the Eagles taking both players that I really want. But I think as I was doing it, I was just like, I don't know, I can't see them choosing Will Levis. And then something about CJ Stroud and all the speculation behind this cognitive test that he took. I don't
mm,
know how much validity they're giving that or how worried they are about that. But it's like any QB that goes to the Texans is probably going to be the starter week one. They're
well,
probably anticipating that they start. And I can't see them developing too much or even too well under someone like Davis Mills because, I mean, like you said, he's serviceable, but he's not somebody, he doesn't strike me as the kind of player people want to learn from, especially
sure,
a QB that wants to be a long-term franchise QB for someone like the Texans. So, if I had to choose between who they believe they can really have the highest ceiling with if they want to take a gamble at QB, that's why I went with Anthony Richardson. But if not him, then Will Levis. I just don't see them taking CJ Stroud.
yeah,
Um,
I don't know.
but if not a QB, then yeah, I totally agree. Will Anderson is
Okay.
the next best bet with D'Amico Ryans being your head coach.
All right. So with that being said, so like I said, I think it'll change up the draft a little bit here. Um, and I think the
Yeah,
top
for
10 is going to be
sure.
tough because I think you're going to see a lot of movement or you're going to see like little movement. And I think it starts with Arizona. If they're not able to get out of that third spot, I think it's a kind of a quiet first round. But I think Josh McDaniels has a limited window with the Raiders, and he's
Hmm.
going to be a little ballsy here. I don't know if they even have the draft capital to move up to three, but they're going to do it
Okay.
somehow. They're going to move up
Okay.
to three, trade with Arizona, and they're going to take a quarterback.
Okay.
But keep in mind, only Bryce Young is off the board. So they have
Yeah.
CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, but no, they do the Raiders thing, and they take Will Levis out of Kentucky because that's how the Raiders
Will
are.
Levis.
That's how the
Oh
Raiders
man.
are.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. If they
I was
have to
like,
take one of those QB.
I was like, this is such a Raiders move to then take like the fourth best quarterback, but that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I concur. But if so, it's funny that you mentioned that Arizona. I actually do have them in this draft trading outside because if Houston were to take Will Anderson, that
Hmm.
also changes my top 10 a little bit. So I have also Arizona making a trade, but they trade with Tennessee.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Tennessee trades up and they take CJ Stroud.
Damn.
And I think honestly, CJ Stroud, it's kind of hit or miss with him being under Ryan Tannehill because Tannehill has kind of made it clear in the past when they drafted Malik Willis that he's not really the mentoring type. He has no interest in kind of building up young guys and
Yeah. They all the veterans do like that.
yeah, so I don't know how successful that would be because honestly, yeah, Malik Willis didn't really show anything great in his rookie season, and it seems like the Texans are kind of not the Texans, I'm sorry, the Titans are kind of done with him,
Yeah.
as the reports say. But I don't know. I mean, like I feel like he still has a shot to be potentially a backup quarterback and a good one, under the right situation.
Yeah. I mean, obviously not an NFL GM or a head coach, but I just don't understand giving up on a quarterback in a year. Like,
Me
let him
either.
develop, give him a chance at least. Why waste a first round pick last year if you're already gonna dump the guy? Like, if you had doubts
Yeah.
last year, you shouldn't have taken him. Like,
Yeah, I feel like some GMs, some teams, organizations, they're focused too heavily on kind of, hey, if we don't make a run this year, then it's a failure. We're not trying to, do take the long-term game with one of these QBs and develop them and then
yeah,
potentially, make it to the playoffs 3 years down the road. We have all this capital that we gave up. We've invested all of these resources into this team. So if we didn't at least make the playoffs with this guy, then it's time to look into our options, which I think is the epitome of the Colts. Colts do
hmm,
that every single year. That's why they recycle through quarterbacks like nobody's business. So
that's true.
I think that Tennessee trading up for CJ Stroud with Arizona, if Arizona takes the deal, I have them trading picks and then Tennessee giving up a late round pick and maybe even a 2024 pick
Okay.
to get up to 3, which I can't see anybody rejecting that.
Yeah,
Especially a team like the Cardinals who already have a QB and they can afford to trade up to wherever where was Tennessee previously?
11, I believe.
11, yeah. Trading
Yeah.
up to 11, you can still get an edge, you can still get an offensive guy like Paris Johnson will probably still be there depending on how the rest of the top 10 goes. Maybe even Peter Skoronski. Um or Lucas Van Ness, get an edge to help beef up the defensive line now that you lost JJ Watt.
Like I said, yeah, I think Arizona has a lot of holes. They went from a team like that was Super Bowl bound like 2 years ago when they had JJ Watt and they got DeAndre Hopkins and all this, and now they're like rebuilding with an injured
Yeah, that team
quarterback
fell apart quick.
with a questionable head coach hire. But
Yeah.
yeah. So we'll
Now
see what
you're looking at,
happens.
Colt McCoy week 1,
Oh
probably.
boy.
Is he
Yeah.
even still with the Cardinals?
I don't know. I don't even know who
Yeah.
they got in that QB room, but all
All
right. So
righty.
moving on to Indianapolis at 4, what do you have them doing?
Yeah. Indianapolis at 4, I have them going with Will Levis.
Okay.
That to me seems like a safe bet. If he's there, they're definitely going to go with Will Levis. And I think he's going to be Tebow 2.0,
Mm,
honestly. I'm not sold on him. He has not wowed me. But I'm not a GM. I'm not an NFL scout. But I don't know. I just don't think that he's going to be right away ready to be the franchise guy. And I'm not sure that Indy is going to want to kind of invest in building him up long term,
uh-huh.
past 2 to 3 years. So we'll see. I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay. So since the Raiders and the Houston just fucked everything up, uh, so Bryce Young and Will Levis are gone. Indy is pretty. I'm at like 80%. They're gonna take a quarterback here.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, I mean,
for
11.
sure.
If Will Anderson slides, they'll take Will Anderson. But I mean, Jalen Carter's
You
kind of in
think?
play. I don't think he's gonna slide to 4, but I mean, how do you pass that up if he does? Um, but yeah,
Who's going to throw the ball?
I don't know. I don't
Who's going
know.
to take the snaps?
Another 50-year-old
Because it's
quarterback.
not going to be Nick Foles and it's not going to be Gardner Minshew.
But yeah, I'm gonna take CJ Stroud, and Indy is thrilled that he wasn't taken at 1 or 2, and then dropped right to 4 in their
Okay.
hands. So I think CJ Stroud's a good spot for Indy, and then roll
Yeah.
right into my Seattle pick. I got Anthony Richardson, like you were saying earlier in the pre-talk. He'd be
Okay.
a great slot there for Seattle. So if Anthony Richardson falls, the quarterback out of Florida to Seattle, I think they'll take him.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely also believe that if they don't take Jalen Carter, if Will Anderson isn't there, everything that I've read, that I've seen online, online because the internet is so reliable.
Internet.
It doesn't seem like they're going to draft Jalen Carter. So if they don't draft Jalen Carter and Will Anderson is not there, I don't think that they're going to waste, I wouldn't say waste, but spend the fifth overall pick on a guy like Tyree Wilson. I think that they take Anthony Richardson if he's on the board.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that
Um,
that's the best possible scenario for him out of all the teams that he can be drafted by. I think Seattle is his best bet to truly try to reach that ceiling that everybody keeps raving about and that potential that he has.
Fair.
Yeah.
Moving to pick 6 with Detroit.
Pick six.
I think Detroit's gonna be pretty defensive heavy here. Um,
Yeah, same, same.
so I have them taking Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon.
I concur.
Oh,
Christian
okay.
Gonzalez.
Look at that.
Yeah. Christian Gonzalez, man. I mean, I think it's between him and Devin Witherspoon. Devin Witherspoon's a little bigger, he's a little stronger,
Yeah,
but I think Christian Gonzalez is just a little more dynamic, a little faster. I think
I agree.
he'd definitely be more of a key piece to Detroit than Devin Witherspoon. Honestly, they'd be good with whoever, either one of those guys, but I think Christian Gonzalez is a stud.
If the Eagles stay pat at what are they at 10? Um, I don't I don't think Witherspoon or Gonzalez will reach them. So if they really want a corner, they might have to move up a little. If they really want Jalen Carter, they might have to move up a little, but
Okay.
we'll see. So yeah, pick number 7. We have the Atlanta
Number 7.
Falcons on
This
the
one's gonna be
clock.
fun. Yeah, this one's fun.
Is this my turn or your turn? I don't know.
I believe this is my turn.
Okay.
Um, but the Falcons. So this is interesting. The Falcons. Jalen Carter
Oh
moved
no, wait,
past
wait, wait.
5.
Wait, seven is wait, did I mess up? 6, Detroit. Oh,
Yeah,
seven's
seven.
the
Seven is the
Raiders.
Raiders.
Yeah,
Seven
yeah.
is the Raiders. Okay, so at this point, there's no QBs left on the board.
Correct. On
None.
yours, yeah.
So yeah,
Well,
so
there's
the
Hooker, but
Raiders.
yeah.
Yeah, there's Hooker, but I mean, he's almost for sure going in the second round.
Hmm.
If he goes in the first round, I'd be really, really surprised. And if he's
Hmm.
going to get taken in the first round, it's probably going to be by the Raiders.
Hmm.
Um,
We'll see.
if I had to guess, but at this point, they're in the top 10. They don't have any of the guys that they wanted to draft a QB. Maybe they're more susceptible to a trade. Here comes Philly.
Uh-oh.
Philly's like, hey, let's trade up. I'll send you the 10th pick and a 2024 second rounder for the 7th overall pick, and you guys move to 10. Philly goes to 7 and drafts Jalen Carter. The dogs are reunited. All is well in Philly. We hit Broad Street and get ready for a Super Bowl run because it's coming. But yeah, I think if all the quarterbacks are off the board, pick number 7, Philly trades up. Howie does what he does and brings his man home, Jalen Carter.
That's interesting that you say that because I had Arizona trade with the Raiders to get to 3. So Arizona has this pick at 7, and like I said before, Arizona's trying to stockpile picks because they need all the help they can get.
Mm,
And like you said, on my board, someone named Mr. Carter has been sliding. And so I
he's been
said,
sliding.
Yo, Howie, what's up? Philly. I got the Eagles making the same exact move you do, moving up to 7, taking Jalen Carter and reuniting that Georgia D line.
Boom.
It'll be beautiful, beautiful. So a little bit of wishful thinking, but I think it's if he slides to 7, I could see it.
Oh yeah. If he
I,
slides past, I think that if he slides past Seattle, the Eagles are going to how he's going to be making calls. He's going to be offering, I think he might even offer more than he should, but I think he's going to get his man. I think right now, if I had to guess what the Eagles draft board looks like, I think Jalen Carter's all the way at the very top. And then maybe you got, Devin Witherspoon or Christian Gonzalez right under him, and then Bijan Robinson at number 3.
mhm.
That's what I would say anyway.
All
And then
right.
of course followed by offensive tackles, Peter Skoronski and Paris Johnson. Although I'm not a huge Paris Johnson fan for the Eagles.
Hmm. I could see
But
it
yeah,
though.
yeah,
Skronsky would be dope, but um,
Skoronski would be dope.
yeah. So okay, we both have Philly making a move there. Then at
Hmm.
number 8 pick, Atlanta, I have them taking Devin Witherspoon, cornerback out of Illinois. Um,
Hmm.
they did just trade for the Detroit corner, but
Yeah,
I think they need all the defensive help they can get, and they've been making good moves on defense. Like they're going to be better this year, but I think this is another solid piece for them to add to their secondary.
gotcha. So this is Arizona, you said?
Pick 8, Atlanta.
Oh, Atlanta, the Falcons. Let me see here. Who makes sense? Yeah, I don't know. I think that the Falcons at 8 take Tyree Wilson, edge.
I could see that as well. I think they
I
go
think that
defense
the
either way. This could be the
yeah,
B
I
John
think
pick, but I don't think so.
nah, I think Arthur Smith really wants to, really badly, but I don't think that he can justify taking Bijan at number 8.
Yeah.
Like I think that everybody around him would be against it except for him. I mean, you have Algier, a seventh round pick who fairly had a pretty good season,
Mm,
and then you kind of have Cordero Patterson. I mean, I'm not sure if he's if
yeah.
he's really
No.
going to be there next year, if he's going to be taking that many snaps. I
Yeah.
don't think that you waste the eighth on Bijan, but I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of people seem to think that he is that he would do it. That they would go for it. But
Yeah.
we'll
I
see.
mean, could I see it? Yes. Do I think it's gonna happen? No. But
Yeah. All right.
number
Uh,
9,
Number
Chicago. Who do you
nine,
have?
we have Chicago choosing. I think that they go offensive tackle Peter Skoronski because they need to protect Justin Fields. They need to
Yeah.
give this man some protection, man. He is just getting hit way too much. And if you want to build this guy up and develop him and really make him your franchise QB, like it seems like they're trying to do, you got to protect him. That
Yeah.
guy, he gets no protection whatsoever. That line is a disaster amongst everything else about the Bears. The Bears are probably in rebuild year in rebuild mode for the next 2-3 years. But I'd love to see some more protection around Justin Fields.
Yeah. I have the same exact pick and player. Chicago taking Skronsky out of Northwestern. So nice.
Boom. All right, number
So
10.
yeah, number 10. So this is Eagles, but I had Arizona trading with them. So Arizona's at 10. They stay here. I think they take a edge rusher in Tyree Wilson, which I think is great for them because you could have taken him anywhere in the top 10. So they get a nice defensive piece for that Jonathan Gannon defense. But
Yeah, Jesus. Ugh, makes me nauseous hearing that man's name. Uh, yeah, but yeah, I think that that's good. I have obviously Las Vegas trading with Philly to get Jalen Carter. So at 10, I think Las Vegas goes with cornerback Devin Witherspoon
okay.
because that's probably their best option at this point since the guys that they wanted to draft are no longer on the board, and they can definitely use some help in the backfield.
I could definitely see if he was still on the board, I'd have him take him, but he was gone.
Hmm.
When we did our live mock draft with 4 people last week, I had the Cardinals doing a little surprise and staying at 3 and taking Christian Gonzalez. It was a little bold, but I do think they could take a corner. Um, nice.
Yeah, I don't
So
know if they take a corner all the way at 3. That's
yeah,
bold, but
I mean the draft. I'm surprised every year at the draft when head
yeah,
scratching moves. So
I can't wait. I can't wait to see who the bonehead's going to be this year.
it came
Hope
it
it's
came
not
out real
us.
quick. I'm excited, but yeah. So 11, I have Tennessee still here. You obviously have someone else because you traded. Um, but let's see. Oh yeah. So I have them taking JSN, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. I
Jackson
think.
Smith,
Yep. I think they always need wide receiver help in Tennessee, especially when uh
always.
AJ Brown had more receiving yards than their entire offense. So yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah. But
yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, here at 11, I actually have Arizona, and I have them taking Paris Johnson Jr.,
okay.
offensive tackle. Yeah, because
Nice.
I had them trading with Tennessee to get CJ, and now they're at 11. And I think Paris Johnson would be a great addition to put some extra help around that fresh ACL when Kyler Murray comes back.
Okay. So then 12, we have Houston. Who do you have Houston taking?
So Houston, I have Houston taking wide receiver Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so they get their so Houston, they get their edge. No more QBs. They get Jackson Smith. And who
So
knows?
no
Maybe they
QBs.
trade. Maybe who knows? Maybe they trade for Trey Lance, man. I
Oh,
think that we're gonna see a blockbuster trade
oh,
in the draft. I don't know if it's gonna be Trey Lance, but I think someone's gonna trade for some big piece. I had a theory that just to drop some Eagles fan fiction on you,
okay.
that the Eagles trade the 30th overall for Derrick Henry.
I mean, I saw the rumors. Yes, I saw the Derrick Henry to Philly rumors, but we'll see.
Yeah,
I
or
mean,
Buda Baker, either one of those guys. I think that if you draft Derrick Henry, and you take that hit in the remainder of his contract, I think it's like over 10 million in his last year.
mm,
I think that, we can assume that Howie again is going all in, and it's like this is it, you got to make something happen because I don't think that Derrick Henry has too many more 1,000 rushing yard seasons in him. You know, I
I
think that this
actually,
next year is
I, I, I could see the Eagles trading for Derrick Henry, but the way I looking at past trades for running backs, I mean, CMC got he took like a second round pick to get him. So I
yeah.
think I think because of Henry's 29, he's got a hefty contract. Been a little, I mean, he's a stud, but he's had his injuries
He's
here and there.
Yeah, he's still been great though.
I think you could probably get Henry for a second or third, honestly, maybe even a
Okay.
fourth. So
Yeah. Maybe Buda Baker's then more
yeah, the
realistic.
Buda Baker thing, I get it. I'm not. I like him. He's a top seven safety, but he
Yeah.
wants to get paid like he's number one, and he's not number one in
Yeah.
my book. So I wouldn't make
I
that
know.
trade. But I've said,
I
yeah,
totally
I've had to
agree.
explain this like to so many people. I was like I mean,
I
you can
agree.
like him if you want to other people. He's a playmaker for sure. I just don't. I can't. Safety is such a hard position to invest in.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It is. It is. It's very hard to
I'd
invest
love
in.
Kevin Byard. I'd happily trade the
Kevin
30th
Byard.
pick. I'd
I'll
happily
trade
trade
the
that for Kevin
30th
Byard. He's
for
worth
Kevin
it.
Byard. I would trade the 30th for Kevin Byard for sure.
But
But so that was my 12th pick.
yep.
Um Now the next is me or is it you?
So my
13.
twelfth pick for Houston is Paris Johnson,
Oh,
the offensive tackle at Ohio State. So
so we literally had ours just
yep,
reversed.
yep, yep. So then
Yeah,
going
man.
into 13, so this is now Green Bay because they finally traded Aaron Rodgers bum ass to the
Finally.
Jets. But
Good
they swapped
riddance.
first and like a second and a conditional first or something. But
Yeah.
yeah, finally got that out of the way. So Green Bay here at 13, I think they take both the top corners are off the page. So I think tight end they could flirt with tight end, but I think 13 is a little high for that. So I got
Mm.
Lucas Van Ness out of Iowa going here to Green Bay.
Mm. Edge.
Yep.
Lucas Van Ness. For the longest time, it was like because he was part of the top 30 visit with the Eagles, and the rumors were like, yeah, like Lucas Van Ness is probably going to go at 10 for the Eagles. I'm like, if we draft Lucas Van Ness at 10, I will be upset.
Yeah, I think it's
I'm
too
not.
high for him.
It's too high. But I think Green Bay at 13, they have absolutely, other than Christian Watson, there's no help in the wide receiver room. I think
True.
that they take a wide receiver.
I can see it.
And since JSN is off the board, I think they go with the next best, Quentin Johnson
Hmm.
out of a TCU. Quentin Johnston out of TCU.
Yeah,
And they draft Quentin Johnston at 13.
I
Gonna be
could see it.
solid.
I could see it because the thing with the draft, like the same, it's with quarterbacks and wide receivers. Anytime there's a run, like one of them goes and then another goes, you just see a run because teams get nervous.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I could
So I
definitely see
think that
that.
he goes. I think he goes, and I think that it's also just like a fuck you to Aaron Rodgers. Like, he's
Bye,
like, hey,
bitch. Now
buddy,
here's some
remember?
support.
Yeah, remember when you wanted support? Well, we're gonna give this guy over here the support that
Yeah.
he needs. So here you go, Jordan.
Hmm.
Take Quentin Johnson.
Damn. So
But
what do you got at 14 for New England?
14 for New England. I think you need some DB help. I think they take Joey Porter Jr. off Penn
Oh,
State.
okay. I can
Yeah,
see that. I like that pick a lot. I'd love him to fall to the Eagles. I don't think he's gonna last that long, but
no way.
um, nice. I have some offensive line help. Help build up the trenches in New England. So Broderick
Hmm.
Jones out of Georgia tackle got him going to the Pats.
That's funny, man. Yeah, I like Broderick Jones. I like Broderick Jones for New England. I don't think that that'd be a bad move. Who you got for is it me or you next?
I started with Green. Oh, I started. I don't even know. You can go next. So let's just say
All right.
15 is the Jets.
15 is the Jets. So New York Jets. I actually have Broderick Jones going to New York Jets.
Oh, a little
Offensive
flippy
tackle.
flop.
Yeah, yeah. You gotta beef up that line, man. You gotta protect this guy that you got coming in.
That's
This
true.
very expensive Aaron Rodgers. I think that they go for some offensive line help here, and they
Yeah,
draft him.
I
Um,
concur. I concur because I
Broderick
have
Jones.
I have them taking the tackle out of Tennessee, Darnell Wright,
No.
for that pick at the Jets, and then I just to jump right into another flippy floppy. I have Joey Porter Jr. going to Washington at 16, so close behind your
Washington.
pick, but yeah.
Yeah. For Washington, I have them taking Lucas Van Ness, edge.
Oh, that's a good
You
spot
know,
for him. Yeah.
yeah, I think that they might offload Chase Young. I think they might be open to trading him.
No, that'd be they might, but that'd be dumb. I don't.
I think it's dumb. I think it's dumb. But hey, I mean, I live in the DMV, man,
Oh
and the
shit!
rumor circulating in
Really?
the Commanders media is insane.
That's
You
interesting.
know, a lot of it is speculation just because Dan Snyder's on his way out.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think that trading Chase Young would be really dumb.
Oh, it'd be horrible.
I think that there's a lot of speculation, maybe, from him coming off of the injury in the ACL, whether or not he's going to be at that level to be like one of the highest paid, defenders in the league in his position. But I think that that's what he's going to be asking for after this season.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they'll be willing to sign him. They'll be willing to pay the man.
We will see.
Yeah.
I've had a couple mocks here where every time I have Joey Porter Jr. going right before Pittsburgh picks, and obviously that would be a great pick for Pittsburgh, but
Yeah.
they don't get him. And now I'm seeing a bit of a trend here where I go like back to back positions.
Hmm.
So I have another cornerback going off the board, but he's more of a safety. Brian Branch out of Alabama, which I again
Oh,
love. I would love for him to slide to 30 for the Eagles, but
love. I love him for the Eagles at 30.
yeah, I have him going to Pittsburgh here at 17.
Yeah, I think that one of the teams that are very susceptible to trading up is definitely Pittsburgh, because
Mm,
they want to get they want to get an offensive tackle, they want to get an offensive guy for sure. I think that they need it just as much as anybody else needs it, and I think that they're willing to trade up to anybody who takes it. And I actually saw in one of my mock drafts, I had them trading actually with the Eagles, trading up to
okay,
10, the Eagles trading back,
I could see
and
that.
then yeah, I could see that happening for sure. But I have Pittsburgh drafting Darnell Wright, which is the next offensive tackle on the board. That's good for them to take off of out of Tennessee.
Yeah,
Darnell Wright.
yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had him going just a little bit sooner, but again, tackles could go anywhere in this. There's not like a superior one, but
No.
um, nice.
All right. And then
Detroit,
at 18th pick,
18.
Detroit, I have them taking Miles Murphy, edge out of Clemson.
Okay,
Yeah.
so so we're gonna do a little bit of a back and little flippy floppy because I have him going next. But before that, I do have this is my one of my spicy picks. I
Spicy
have
pick.
Detroit taking running back out of Texas, B. John Robinson.
No. What?
B. John
No.
Robinson.
I don't think they take Bijan.
Look,
They
they
got
lost.
well,
They
they lost
signed
them all, but they have
they
they
signed
have a
Montgomery.
Montgomery and they have a DeAndre Swift, which is a
So
huge question mark every year because he seems to be super injury prone.
so
And they also
my
have fellow KU,
yeah,
Craig Reynolds.
Craig Reynolds, shout out Craig Reynolds, Coach Sam University.
Shout out. Yeah, shout out
uh
Craig, man. Maybe this is the year that he gets more snaps and breaks through.
yeah, I think ultimately what Detroit looks at is they're like, we've built up our team, we're pretty talented. We are arguably a top five team in the NFC. Um So why don't we just take best available? And he is by far the best available at 18 here.
Hmm.
And I think you look at their running back room, they lost what's his name? Jamal Williams to the Saints.
Yeah,
And then he just set the record for like running back touchdowns. And
he did.
then
Even though they were mostly all red zone touchdowns, but that's fine.
they were, but still counts, still
I like
counts.
I don't like that stat because it's like you do a lot of those touchdowns. Like he didn't really get too many snaps in the drive up until they got to the red zone. So it's like they marched down the field, and then once they were like less than 15 yards within, once they were in the red zone within 15
Yeah.
yards of the end zone, here comes Jamal Williams to charge it in.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You still got to do the work. You still have to be able to find the hole and make it into the end zone. But I just think that stat is just a little bit beefed up. I don't know.
Yeah, my thought process is like they signed Dave Montgomery, great running back when he's healthy. They have
Hmm.
Swift, great running back when he's healthy. So,
When he's healthy.
those injury concerns are serious, and I think Swift has a contract coming up. Um,
Yeah.
so I think it's a great spot for him, honestly. I think he would that's a lethal three-headed running back rotation in Detroit now. And
Yeah.
you can
100%.
take some edge off of Goff, and Goff's played, he's picked up his game. He's played well for Detroit.
He has.
And they have some good
I always liked
receivers.
Jared. I don't know, man.
And I mean,
Well, the wide
yeah,
receiver room is for
yeah,
weeks 1 through 6.
yeah. So I think that even with Williamson being suspended, I think that gives a little
Fucking idiot, man.
more emphasis for that. Yeah. How many times do you have to see players get suspended or fined for gambling to know
And
not
it's
to
the
do it?
dumbest thing.
It's
It's
so
like you can
stupid.
gamble, like getting your car, drive 3 blocks away from the facility and just place your bet, man. Don't place it inside of the facility. Apparently, like they make that really clear in the training that they have to go through, and it's
Yeah.
just baffling how stupid, some professional athletes are. I'm like, you have such a great opportunity and you're risking it over let's say $500 parlay.
Yeah.
Like, come on,
That's the
man.
thing. They make so much money. Why even bother trying to throw it away like that? But
Doesn't make any sense. Find a hobby.
anyway, anyway. So
A
yeah,
better hobby.
19 is Tampa. So again, a little flip flop. I have Miles Murphy going here, the edge rusher out of Clemson, to
Okay.
the Buccaneers, because I think they might need some help on defense. So
Oh, they need help everywhere. Specifically offensive line, which is why I
yeah.
have them taking Anton Harrison from
Okay.
Oklahoma, offensive tackle at
Okay.
19. Because
I
whoever's back there, whether it looks like it's gonna be Baker. You gotta give him a chance. You gotta protect him.
yeah, I could see him going. I think he's more of a early second round guy, but I could see him jumping into the first round if all the other, first round eligible tackles are gone. But
Yeah, that's why.
um yeah. Okay. What
Which
about
is
we got Seattle here at 20. What are you thinking?
Seattle at 20. So Seattle at 20. I think that if this guy is still on the board,
Hmm.
they're gonna take him. I think they take Nolan Smith, edge out of Georgia, which I
Okay.
really, really badly wanted him to fall deeper and maybe go to the Eagles at 30, but I just don't see him dropping to 30, especially if all these guys are off the board this early. I think Nolan Smith goes to Seattle at 20.
All right. I don't mind that pick. I think he's gone soon, but not quite soon.
Okay.
Seattle, I think you look at it, you have Metcalf, obviously at receiver. You have a good running back, good young running backs. Now that they drafted Anthony Richardson, makings of a new quarterback. So why not support this new quarterback and your current quarterback in Geno Smith with a receiver, because you got Tyler Lockett's getting up there in age, a little more injury
Yeah.
prone. So I got them taking Jordan Addison out of USC here at number 20.
Okay. Yeah. I haven't really watched much on Jordan Addison, so I don't know if
Okay.
that's a great pick or a bad pick. I'm not sure.
I mean,
But I trust your
every wide receiver is a coin flip. So,
Yeah, there you go. That's very true.
and
Awesome.
then what's up?
No,
What'd you say?
yeah, I was just saying. I just said awesome. Yeah, and
Oh,
then
awesome. Yeah, yeah,
you were gonna go to 21.
yeah. Yeah, 21. Charges. I got this is where my first tight end comes off the board. I have Michael Meyer from Notre Dame going here. I think,
Really?
yeah, I think LA, they're pretty set a lot. Like their defense is super talented. They were just dumb injury prone last year.
Yeah.
So they'll get healthy. I think they got some good receivers. I know there was some discussion about like Keenan Allen not being there next year, but Mike Williams coming back healthy. I think having a really reliable tight end is huge. He used to have that with his old tight end in his rookie year, but then he went off to New England, playing Hunter Henry. I almost blanked on his name there. So this is
Yeah.
like a Hunter Henry replacement, like a year late.
Did
But
they trade away Gerald Everett?
I don't remember. I think he was a free agent, if I'm
Okay,
not mistaken.
gotcha. Well, here's a blockbuster.
Oh
All
shit.
right. 21. Can you do
Do
something for
something
me? All
for
right.
me.
So 21. So 21, the Chargers are there.
Uh-huh.
They wanted to draft these two wide receivers, Jackson Smith and the guy that New England took, not Joey Porter Jr. I'm sorry. What's his name? The guy that what the hell was his name? Jackson Smith and Jigba. Oh, and Quentin Johnston.
Brent
Quentin
Johnston.
Johnson and Jackson Smith and Jigba are both off the board. So they figure we can get a wide receiver because we really need one. Mike Williams, he's good, but he's injury prone. Keenan
Okay.
Allen, he's old as fuck. He's on his way out. I think that those are just not two reliable wide receivers on your team. So you got to draft one. And there's some talented ones on the board,
Okay.
but you're okay, talented enough for you to develop and for them to learn under great veteran receivers like Keenan Allen. So you're okay with trading down. Here come the Eagles.
Oh God.
The Eagles see their man. Somehow
No.
he's gone all this time.
He's still there. I didn't even notice.
He's still there. Bijan Robinson is
Oh
still
my
there
God.
at 21. Here
21.
comes Howie. Hey, Chargers, I'll trade you the 30th and I'll trade you a second round pick because they have two
Oh,
second round picks.
okay.
So I'll trade you second round and the 30th for the 21st pick, and they take their guy, Bijan
Man.
Robinson. And now you got both of them. You got Jalen Carter and you got Bijan.
That is a dream draft if they get Bijan
Oh, honestly,
and Jalen Carter.
If Howie pulls that off
They're gonna throw a parade for
somehow,
Howie.
like I'm gonna like I don't even know, man. I'd die. But yeah, blockbuster trade. I got Bijan Robinson somehow still on the board, and the Eagles trading up to get him at 21. But
Jeez.
realistically, that's probably not going to happen. Not even close. So I think that it's tough. I don't know. Is Deontay Banks off the board yet?
Not my board. I didn't hear you say him either though. So
Yeah, I think that the Chargers realistically, if they don't take a tight end like Dalton can with like is it Dalton Kincaid? Is that what his
Kincaid,
name
yeah.
is?
Yeah.
Yeah, if Kincaid's there, I would take him first. That'd be the first tight end that I take. But if they don't take a tight end, I think that they go Deontay Banks out of Maryland
Okay.
if he's still there. They definitely
Spicy.
could use some DB depth.
Nice. All
Yeah,
right. So then going off of that, so then we have Baltimore on the clock here, 22. Just
yeah,
got OBJ. I mean,
yeah.
hopefully Lamar's staying there. I don't know,
Who knows? But I think that Baltimore takes a wide receiver here. I'm gonna go with Jordan Addison out of USC.
but okay. Okay. So I still have Quentin Johnston on my board for TCU. So
Okay.
I'm having Baltimore take a wide receiver as well. A little speedy guy
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
offense.
Yeah. You need especially if Lamar is staying. I don't know what's going on with that, but you need to give him some targets. You need to give him someone else to throw to other than Mark Andrews. Obviously, they got OBJ. Question mark. Not sure how good he's going to be. They just paid him a lot of money, which I thought was insane. 15 million guaranteed, was it? And then 18
Mm,
million, up to 18 million for 1 year. That's
I
pretty
forget. Yeah.
insane. But if that's the correct number, I think that that's crazy. I still think that OBJ is a question mark. I don't know how great he's going to be, but you need to draft targets, and I think Jordan Addison, if he's on the board, which he probably will be, because I had him going like early second, maybe even third, but he's the next best wide receiver off the board in my draft. So Jordan Addison out of USC,
Okay.
and at 23, Minnesota, who you got?
Minnesota. I have Nolan Smith still on the board, so I think he slides perfectly right to them. He's a great fit. Edge rusher out of Georgia, and that's who
Yeah,
I have.
man, I have them hoping and praying that there's a a cornerback to take, and there is Deontay Banks, and they jump on that right away
Okay.
because they get cooked. They get
They
cooked
do.
in the backfield.
They do.
Yeah.
I could see, yeah. I Deontay Banks I have going a couple picks later, but that wouldn't surprise me. Um,
No, yeah. I mean, out of all the CBs, out of all the DBs, I think it's him and Brian Branch that are probably the best at this point. And
yeah,
I have Brian Branch going later. Honestly, I just like Deontay Banks just a little more. Not saying that just because I'm a Terps fan, but you know, Deontay Banks.
okay, okay. Let's see. Right
And
here,
then
I have yeah, Jacksonville
Jacksonville.
24.
So Jacksonville, pick 24. I have them going with Will McDonald, edge out of Iowa State.
Had a farm.
What happened?
It was a bad time joke. You said Will McDonald, and there was like an awkward pause. I was like, had a
Farm.
farm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Will McDonald, edge. EIEI Iowa
Yeah,
State.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh
Yeah,
shit.
that's who I got. I think that he's probably going to be the best edge left on the board, and I think that they can really use an edge, and Will McDonald is the next best one. I kind of had him going later, second
Mm.
round in some of my other drafts,
Yeah,
but
that's where I have him. But I could see it. I
yeah,
think I think defense is definitely Jacksonville. I think ideally if Brian Branch was still on the board, they would look at him pretty heavily.
yeah,
Um, but I have Kalijah Cansey, Pittsburgh defensive lineman going here to Jacksonville 24, beef up that front a little bit.
for sure.
Jacksonville's an exciting team, man.
They are.
I'm rooting for them and Dougie. I think
Oh,
they got
well, yeah, for
really good
sure.
offense, and now just beef that defense up a little bit and get them back to like a top 10 defensive level. Like they'll be good.
Yeah,
So
I think so. I think that you you beef up that defense, like you said. You put a little more protection around Trevor Lawrence. Maybe get him. Well, I mean, I actually forget. I always forget that Calvin Ridley is a Jaguar now.
yeah, that's all I'm
So
saying. Like that offense is lethal. They
yeah, it
are
is.
demon time out there.
For sure. It's gonna be fun to watch. Rooting for WP.
Yeah.
And now what about the Giants? Who you got the Giants selecting?
So yeah, I think in my draft board, Deontay Banks is still sliding. So I think this is where
Hmm.
he finally goes. I think Giants need some secondary help.
Oh yeah.
So yeah,
You think?
Deontay Banks out of Maryland going to the New York City's Giants.
Yeah, I got Brian Branch
Oh wow. I would
going
hate
to the
that.
Giants.
But
I would hate, yeah, yeah, but it's like, hey, if he's there, we're taking him.
yeah, I think secondary is definitely one of their biggest needs. So
For sure, for sure. Now for Dallas, I hate Dallas
bleh,
so much. I haven't done a single mock draft where they get what I think would benefit them the most.
take a quarterback.
But yeah, take a quarterback, take Hendon Hooker.
And then
But I
Hooker.
think honestly, Dallas takes a tight end, and I think the best tight end in the class is Dalton Kincaid out of
Hmm.
Utah. So I think they take Dalton. They take another
I
Dalton. They got two Daltons. They got Schultz and Kincaid.
so they lost Dalton Schultz
Oh yeah, they
actually.
saw they yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. They did lose.
Yeah,
They're
so
moving from one Dalton to the next Dalton.
yeah, you stole my punchline because I also have Dalton Kincaid going to. It just seems right. It just seems like
It
that's who they're
seems
gonna
right,
go with. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's just like,
So
hey, we're just gonna stick to the formula,
yeah,
We're gonna go with
I
Daltons.
mean, Schultz was pretty solid when he was healthy. So but yeah.
Yeah.
So moving on. So this is I have a little interesting ending here to the draft.
Oh, Buffalo.
So yeah, so I have Buffalo here at 27. They're kind of looking around like, yeah, I don't know. And then they get a ring, and Houston is like, hey, we pick tomorrow, but we're willing to give you a couple extra picks to move up right now to 27. And
Okay.
they're like, sure, why not? And so Houston comes in at 27, and they are thinking about, they thought about a quarterback earlier. They're like, nah, we'll pass. They kind of like what they got in Mills, maybe. We don't really know. But then they say,
Hmm.
let's take this guy to Tennessee, Hendon Hooker. Maybe he'll work out, maybe
Hendon
not.
Hooker.
But now you got two potential quarterbacks to start for your team in Mills and Hooker. So I can see it.
Wow.
I think Hooker's going to go really
I
late in
don't
the
hate that.
first. But
I
yeah,
don't hate that.
yeah,
Yeah, I think that the late first round, I think it's, a very it's very susceptible for some teams trading up. And I think Hendon Hooker, if anybody trades up specifically that needs a quarterback like the Texans, they take
mm,
Hendon Hooker late round. Yeah, I don't hate that at all. Yeah.
okay, okay,
I think that that's very realistic. I have Buffalo sticking with their pick. taking Zay Flowers out of Boston College, wide receiver,
Okay.
because man, I don't know, Gabe Davis ain't it, man.
He's got
Gabe
his
Davis,
moments. I mean, he
he's got
did.
his moments. That's it, his
Yeah.
moments. And then, of course, you got Diggs, true stud, but you
Yeah.
need somebody else.
Well, yeah, they definitely. I think he would be a great third receiver in that offense.
Yeah,
So that's a. I
yeah.
like that pick.
McKenzie ain't it either.
Just let him
You
know.
need,
Let him know, Mike.
yeah, yeah. Nah, McKenzie, man, he's hot
Yeah.
garbage. He's French toast. He gets French toasted all the time.
Okay.
Gabe Davis, man, he comes in clutch sometimes, like with the big plays and the deep throws. He's very fast.
Yeah.
He's a great wideout, but I just don't think that he is a true WR2. I think you need somebody to definitely get WR3. Your third wide receiver. But I think Gabe Davis is. I think we overvalued him a little bit after that playoff game against Kansas City
Yeah.
when he scored like 4 touchdowns.
Yeah. 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 He was a bit of a letdown in fantasy this year. I remember that. But
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and in that
okay.
game against the Bengals, it was snowing. To be fair, but I mean, you live in Buffalo, so it's like,
True.
come on, man, you're used to that shit.
So
Anyway,
28, you got Cincinnati on the clock. What you doing?
Cincinnati on the clock. Hmm. Cincinnati on the clock. In one, I had them trading, but in this one, I have them going with Kalisha Cansey,
Okay.
defensive line out of Pittsburgh.
I like it. I like it. He's a good,
Yeah,
really good. Probably the best after, you know, Carter and Will Anderson, I would say.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. If he slides all the way down this far in the first round, I think the next team that needs a D lineman takes him, and I think that's Cincinnati.
okay.
In my other draft, I had Cincy actually trading up to get Bijan, but
Damn.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, this is this is a little another very, very bold and also super
Bold.
biased trade here. So I have a three-team trade. You ready? So I
I think it's
have
actually Kalijah, now that I think about it, actually. Not Kalijah. Anyway, I digress. Go ahead.
so I have a little bold trade here.
Bold
I got
trade.
yeah. I got the Eagles trading up from 30 with the Bengals at 28,
Hmm.
and then the Eagles trading 28 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for Devin White and
Really?
some picks next year. So Eagles get a linebacker to put next to
N'Kobe.
the
Yeah.
Kobe Dean and
Yeah, man. I've been sleeping on Devin White, man. I forgot about him. Oh man, I changed my
the
mind.
pipe
I want to
dream.
trade. I want to trade the 30th. I want to trade the 30th for Devin White. Doesn't he
This,
want top dollar?
hey, I mean we let him play for I think he's got 1 year left. So how he would work his magic, he'll get a. This is what I think. I think how he's going to be aggressive because the way he structured Jalen's contract, it's like very cap friendly in the first couple years. So
Yeah.
he's got some room to make moves, and he knows that, especially with this offensive line, he's got about a 2-3 year window.
Yeah. And
So
these two receivers that are both studs that will both be number
yeah,
one on any
so
other team in the
I
NFL.
think I think with the limited draft picks we have in this year as well, and the surplus we have in 2024, I think he's aggressive, and yeah, I mean a little bit of a pipe dream, but I think Devin White's the birds, baby. Why not?
Yeah, I
Um,
love that because we need a
so
linebacker
yeah, yeah.
for sure.
So I
Yeah,
the reason
who's
go
gonna
ahead.
be who's gonna be up there with N'Kobe? Like as of right now, if the Eagles were to play today.
Probably that guy they signed from Chicago. I forget his name off the top of my head.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
But yeah, he'll probably plug in there. But
yeah, yeah.
I
Eagles they signed a lot of lottery tickets this offseason,
they were
free
there were a
agency.
lot of low risk, medium reward players is how
Yeah,
I describe them. You'll get I think the safety out of Pittsburgh is going to be a surprisingly good signing. Um, but we'll see. So
we'll see.
I think
Okay.
the the reason I had a three-team trade is because I mean it doesn't really matter the order that these picks get traded, but I think Tampa wants to jump ahead of New Orleans because they want a defensive lineman and they know New Orleans is looking at defense. So I
Yeah, I
have
haven't taken a defensive lineman.
yeah, so I have them take one too, but I have Tampa taking the better one in Brian Brisset out of Clemson. Um, so
That's funny.
then I have New Orleans taking the next best option in Mozzie Smith out of Michigan. So it's still not,
Yeah.
still a great player, but I think Brisset's a
Mm,
little better,
yeah.
or
I think
Brisset,
Smith
however you
goes in the
say it.
second round.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Smith goes in the second round. I think that are we on the New Orleans now?
Who'd you take? Who you got Cincinnati taking? I forget who.
Kalijah Kancey.
Yeah, so now you have New Orleans at 29.
Yeah, New Orleans, I haven't taken Brian Brisset,
Okay.
Brian Breesy out of Clemson.
Reese.
For sure they need they need someone on that defensive line, man. They got
Yep.
nobody.
Yep. Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I wouldn't mind him falling to the Eagles either. The Eagles
yeah,
stay at 30 and Brisset's there, then take him.
yeah. I don't know. I'm pretty convinced that if the Eagles stay at 30, they're taking a corner.
So I don't know what your draft is at now, but we're at 30. Who do you have
It,
taking this pick?
so 30, the Chargers.
You have the Chargers, okay.
Yeah, so 30, the Chargers. I've got wide receiver Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee.
Okay.
I think Jalen Hyatt's solid. And I think with the Chargers, I think he'd be again, I think he'd be a great option to put under Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, develop him, get him to that wide receiver two, eventually wide receiver one position when Keenan Allen inevitably goes down like he always does.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think that the Keenan Allen would be a great veteran to put in front of this young man, Jalen Hyatt out of
Okay.
Tennessee.
Um, yeah, and then so 30, I have the Bengals. I think they could take this guy at 28 as well, but I've been taking Gibbs, the running back out of Alabama. Joe Mixon is
Jameer
a bit of
Gibbs.
a yeah. You don't know what's going on with Mixon. He might be in jail.
I think Mixon's a criminal this time next
This
year
time he
he's sitting
is.
in prison.
Yeah, yeah. So with that uncertainty, you don't know, and so I think they
Yeah.
take Gibbs here. Solid late round running back.
That's why I had them trading up for Bijan. Um, because then it's like mixing who, like you put him and Samaje Perine back there, man. I think Samaje Perine is underrated. I think he's a great, second back to have. So if Mixon goes down, which it looks like he might, I think that Bijan going after Bijan it just makes sense for Cincy.
Yeah.
That way they can run
Um.
for 300 yards against
Oh,
against the
yeah.
Chiefs.
Yeah, that'd be nuts. I saw back on like Derrick Henry though, if the Eagles do trade for him, somebody was like on Twitter, they were like, "Yeah, Derrick Henry behind the Eagles line would rush for like 3,000 yards in 10 games." I was like,
Yeah, yeah.
"Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So in this draft, yeah, I have them. I have the Chargers trading with obviously with Philly, and then Philly gets Bijan.
wild." I mean,
But
love
yeah,
to see it. Why not?
yeah.
Um,
KC, who do you got? KC
KC.
choosing the last
So
pick.
I think they're gonna end up trading this probably. KC. A lot of these teams at the end like don't like keeping their picks, but in my mock, I have them staying here at 31. And Mr. Zay Flowers out of Boston College is somehow all still on the board, slid all the way down to them, and they're like, we could use more wide receivers. Lost Juju,
Yeah, so that he can
questionable.
just go off, week 13 and 14 for no reason. He just
Oh
gets like
yeah,
three touchdowns and
yep,
400 yards.
yep. So I got Zay Flowers going to KC.
Nice. Well, KC, I got interior offensive lineman Osiris Torrance out of Florida.
I could see that. Yeah,
I think that he'd be good. Add some more depth to that offensive line that's already pretty good. And yeah, I think that they keep that pick, and
yeah,
that concludes my
yeah,
mock draft.
yeah. Mine's concluded as well. I think that honestly, you had a couple picks that were like second rounders that jumped in there, but I could see it because the draft is always like that where players like there's players that are supposed to go in the third round that jump into the first round. So
Yeah,
it's just
I
crazy
think that
how teams,
urgency.
yeah, that teams
People just they're
order.
just like what if this guy's not there? And
Yeah,
I think that we should just get him now while we have him while he's still on the board. But picks 1 through 10, man, I cannot wait. It's gonna be blockbusters back and forth. I think that
yeah,
what Houston, the ball's in Houston's court. whatever they decide to do is going to set the tone for the night.
Yeah,
I, for one, am super excited.
Houston's holding them Infinity Stones, and whatever they decide to do is going to change the draft. So, but
Yeah.
it's exciting.
Um. So, dream ideal Eagles scenario. We're talking about, you know, this is like not realistically, like it's like, okay, this probably won't happen. But if you were waving a magic wand and you were just like, I'm gonna align all these stones for this to happen, what would that be for you? Your dream Eagle scenario that is probably not going to happen. Too
Well,
much whiz, as
I
you
think
say.
too much. Yeah, my too much whiz. I think honestly, my draft is probably too much whiz. Like I'd love be like yours is good. Like Jalen Carter and Bijan, I'd be floor. Like that's a 10 out of 10 draft.
Oh
If
yeah.
if we got Jalen, I don't think we need a running back. That's because just anyone could run behind that line.
Yeah.
But I think Jalen Carter, and trading for Devin White or Kevin Byard or even Buda Baker would be a ideal like scenario. Um, so it's hard to tell. I really don't like we hear this is the one year like I feel like the Eagles sometimes we hear a little bit of rumblings, but I feel like we really don't know what they're gonna do. I
Yeah.
think the only position they're 1000% not going to take in the first couple of picks is quarterback. Everybody else, it's up for
Yeah.
debate. So,
Yeah. Now if I gave you a choice of these three guys and you could have one of them for the 30th pick,
okay.
who would it be? So you've got Kevin Byard, Devin White, and Derrick Henry. One of those three guys. You will get them for the 30th pick if you trade it. Which one are you going with?
Um, if I'm choosing with my brain, I would probably say Devin White. Younger. He has to give him a big contract, but he's younger. If I was choosing with my heart, I fucking love Kevin Byard because I grew up loving watching safeties playing secondary positions. So
Yeah.
I would love Kevin Byard. I don't think Tennessee's going to trade him. I think he's just going to work out the contract and then but Devin White I think and then yeah go from Derrick Henry's more of like that would be fucking fun. Like I don't think
Yeah.
they don't need
They
Derrick
don't need him.
Henry.
They
No.
don't need him. They don't need
City.
him. Yeah.
Can you imagine the
If
Cowboys
I'm like,
players like Cowboys defensive players just wake up the next day and like Derrick Henry on the Eagles like man what the fuck like
yeah, Micah, man, Micah would
uh
wake up. That'd be great.
start having nightmares.
Yeah,
How do you defend
seriously.
Jalen, the quarterback who benches like or squats 600, and
Yeah.
a running back who's not from Earth? Like, how do you defend that?
Yeah. It's you can't do it.
Uh,
But yeah, I think that if I'm choosing with my brain, obviously, I think I want to go with see, I want to say Devin White because we need the linebacker, but Kevin
mhm.
Byard, man.
I mean,
Nah, I'm gonna go with Devin White.
both of them are top five when healthy
I'm
at
gonna
their
go with Devin White.
positions. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Devin White. I think we could work something out with Devin White. But if I'm going with like, man, baby, I'm trying to see 30 plus points in every game. Let's go
Mm,
Derrick Henry, man. Let's put him behind
damn.
that line, behind, behind, behind freaking, Jason Kelsey, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Jordan Mailata, Lane Johnson, behind those guys, man. And he would just get 1,000 yards in no time. He'd be
Yeah, I
like at a
mean,
thousand yards probably like three-fourths into the
I think
season.
also like Tennessee runs him into the ground. He gets like 70 carries a game. So like
Yeah,
I think in Philly he would be like a 28, maybe like not even like 15 to 18 carries a game maybe. And you would he's Eagles typically don't have like a bruiser running back, so he
no,
would play like first, second down, then you would have like or third down, whatever. Then you have like Gainwell and Boston Scott as like those catching running backs.
yeah,
It'd be a good mix. I realistically I give it like a 15% chance of happening. I also think for
nah, yeah,
Tennessee, while it makes sense to get something back for him, like you traded AJ Brown last year and your fans were
yeah.
pissed. You cannot trade.
I don't think you want to do that again.
You cannot trade one of the best players in Titans history and expect people to come to your games. Like it's just
No, yeah. No, it would be a real bonehead move, honestly. Because maybe it makes sense on paper, like financially. I don't know what their cap situation is, but I don't think that it makes sense at all. Otherwise, it's
Yeah,
not going to make sense to your fans if you trade
yeah,
Derrick Henry to anybody.
yeah. I would
But
give I would give Devin White the highest probability of being traded. Uh,
yeah,
well,
I
we'll
hope that
see.
we get one of those guys. I hope that we get. I'd
That'd
be
be
happy with
tough.
Buda
That'd be great.
Baker. I hope that I'd be happy with Buda, but I hope we get Devin.
Yeah,
I'd really be. I was really rooting for us getting Bobby Wagner. I thought that we had a chance of getting him, but
went
him
back to
going back to
Seattle.
Seattle made
Yeah,
sense. Go back to Seattle, end your career there. But man, Bobby Wagner, I was just like, Bobby Wagner's leaving. He's leaving Los Angeles. We gotta go get this man.
yeah,
But yeah, I think that we're gonna see a couple blockbusters in the first round, and hopefully the Eagles is one of them, trading away the 30th for one of those guys. Amongst some other things, you have the capital for it. You have the picks next year. Use them, trade them,
yeah,
get the
yeah.
guys you want. Starting
This
with
is
Jalen
this
Carter.
is this is the Eagles' week in the spotlight because I don't think the shout out to the Sixers, swept the Brooklyn Nets. They're resting now, but
Yeah,
I don't think they're playing at all this week. So
no,
this is Eagles time. So
it is Eagles time. Yeah, the Sixers, man. I'm not a Sixers fan myself, but how crazy would it be if the Sixers went to the finals and lost?
it wouldn't be crazy. That would be in the writing.
It would be hilarious. Like
I
honestly, I'd be like, man, Philly would burn to the
you
ground, I
know
think.
if you're a serious sports fan and you don't root for a Philadelphia team, like you are loving this it's just Philly sports team is just in pain. Getting to the
Yeah.
championship and losing. I mean, getting there is still fun. Like it's still an accolade to be in a championship. But yeah, I don't know. I was
Yeah, but
joking.
you don't want to lose.
I was joking with because the Heat. I mean, Jimmy Buckets dropped 56 points last night against the
Yeah.
Bucks, and the Heat are up 3-1. I was joking with my
Hmm.
friend. I was like what'd be crazy? Like, I think actually I was talking to Tyrell. I was like, what'd be crazy? Like, what if the Heat pull it out and then the Hawks somehow beat the Celtics, right? Sixers get to
Man,
and then the Heat Sixers get to face the Hawks, get their revenge game again. Then they get to
there's
face
no
the
way the
Heat.
Hawks.
Then they face the Heat to get to the finals, get their revenge game. Then they get to the finals and they lose. Like it's all in writing. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. No, the Hawks are down 3-1 to the
I know.
Celtics.
I was just
There's
saying.
no way.
I was just saying
It's gonna be Philly, Boston.
it'd be funny.
And I think that the Celtics, obviously, they're going to take that series and they're going to go to the finals again.
We'll
And
see.
I think this is the year for Boston. As much as I hate Boston teams, everything about Boston, I hate everything about Boston. But I think that the Celtics, man, I think this is the year. But I'm a Knicks fan. I'm just happy to be here. I
I'm just
didn't
happy to
expect
be
us to
here.
be up. I didn't expect us to be up 3-1, right
Yeah.
now in the
No,
series
no.
against the Cavs. But
Mm.
let's do it. Donovan Mitchell's a bitch. Let's go.
Oh shit. Not the spider. Damn.
Nah, man. But hey, this was lots of fun, dude. Thanks for inviting me on again.
Of
I
course.
love being a recurring guest. Cannot wait until Thursday to see that every single one of our pick is wrong. Like
B. John Robinson.
not a single. Bijan's gonna go 2 overall. Like
If you imagine, that'd be
no, I
nuts.
can't.
Yeah.
Can't imagine.
Put some money on that.
That'd
One
be
dollar.
insane. $1. No, yeah, I think Will Anderson is going there. I think
Yeah.
he's a Texan. I
We'll
think
see. We'll
D'Amico
see.
has made the call. But yeah, man. Anytime, I'm happy to come on. Again, thanks for having me. And anything else? Any closing remarks before
I
we go?
think I think that's I think we hit it. I think it was a good mock for both of us. I think we talked very, very hopeful Eagles options here. We'll see what happens though.
Very ambitious.
I would be happy with any of just a Jalen Carter, a Devin White, or a B Sean Robinson. So we'll see what happens. But
Yeah. Either one of those blue chip players, whether it's Bijan or, Jalen, I would
mhm,
be ecstatic. Everything else, it's in Howie's hands and Howie we trust.
Howie we trust. All
Alrighty,
righty.
man. Thanks for having me on.
All right. I'll catch you later. Peace.
Talk to you. Say hi to Tim for me.
Of course. Peace.